Oh, hello there. If you're here, it's probably because you're wondering, how do I create those magnificent black horse portraits with black backgrounds? Well, you are in luck, because I am going to show you how. A timeless work of art. Classic. And clients love them. Truly, they are magnificent, and you can make a lot of money by making them and selling them. Or you can just create beautiful portraits because you love it. But it also would be nice if you could get paid for it. Your first step for a beautiful portrait is making sure your camera has its SD card in it. That's better. For demonstrative purposes, I will be constructing a tiny structure resembling a barn. Make sure it is dark as possible in the barn. Cover any windows, close any doors, be a true photographer, and control the light. Now I'd like to introduce you to our model. Our model will go in the only open doorway in the barn. Due to the dynamic range of the camera, it can't see the light that we can. Instead, it can see very dark and it can see very light, but not at the same time. And everything behind the model, right in the light by the doorway, put the model and everything in the light by the doorway will fall into darkness due to the lack of dynamic range. Or it could be magic. Luckily, you can learn to control this magic through the magic of exposure. And even though it's not actually very dark in our little fake barn, when you expose for just the horse, it makes everything behind the horse fall into darkness. That's basically it. I don't know that it needs any more of an explanation than that. All you need to do is expose for the horse. If you don't know how to do that, then we might have a problem, but that's really all there is to it. If you do need help understanding exposure, why, I can make another tutorial with the same clarity as this one. Just let me know below. It looks like she's got her picture now. By her, I mean me, so let's go to editing now. Okay. Alright, my friends, now we are on to the part where we edit this photo. And as you can see, straight out of camera, we have a pretty nice black background. Wow, so much beauty, so much black background. My favorite parts are definitely the shiny plastic. Definitely go for that in photographing horses. This is the raw version of the photo. Bring up the exposure a little bit, contrast. I always bring my highlights down a little bit. If you bring the shadows up too much, that's when you can start seeing the background. Don't want to bring the shadows up. Because it's a horse, I usually bring up clarity and texture. That way you can see all the little details. Yeah, okay, that's okay. All right, let's get started. Since it already has our black background, there's not a whole lot of editing to do, but we do have to clean up the image a little bit, unless you like these gigantic orange things. I'm guessing that you're probably not going to have to deal with weird orange things or a polka dot floor, but you never know, and there might be other stuff. Everything you don't fix in camera means that you have to fix it in editing, and frankly, it's just easier to fix it in camera. So right now what I'm doing is content aware fill. Basically lasso the area that you want gone. Content aware fill. There we go. Make sure it looks right. It's a little off, but we'll fix it in a second. Get this this button. That's pretty good. Now we're just going to clean up those little lines. This is an example photo, and obviously your photo, I would hope, is not going to have weirdly textured background. But in case it does, I did content aware fill, and then I'm using the healing brush to get rid of these wonky lines. Sometimes things will show up when you don't want them to, or show through different layers. Now that we fixed our foreground, we're going to fix our background. This is a tip to help you see if your background needs cleaning up. Make a curves adjustment layer, bring up the blacks. And you can see that there is the beam here. I guess you also could have done exposure too, but I'm going to alter this layer in a few minutes. But this is good to do because if your computer is not calibrated, or you're planning to print it, especially if you're going to print it, wonky stuff can show up in the background, and if you just completely missed it, that would be an unpleasant surprise. So now we are left with a solid black background. That's what it looks like without the curves. Now I'm going to change the curve layer because I still use this layer, put the finishing touch on the photo. So I bring up the blacks, but then I bring down the shadows a bit, bring up the midtones and the highlights. On him, he's going to look a little... It's a plastic horse, so it's going to look a little funny. But on a normal horse, it looks pretty good. Some colors of horses don't look as good when you do this, but what you want to do is not that. what you want to do is bring down the saturation a little bit, and then that'll make it look more like a painting. I don't want to pick on the floor too much, but I'm not a fan of the polka dots. We are going to change this with frequency separation. A lot of things depend on your artistic vision. If you wanted solid black floors, you would go deeper than this. If it was a barn floor, it would make more sense than a polka dot floor. Okay, one more thing that I want to do. A little bit of dodge and burn. Add some lightness to areas where the light is going to hit the horse. And add some shadows to where the shadows naturally occur. There we go. That is our final image. It's easier to do everything in camera, and then you don't have to spend a lot of time editing. All right, guys, that's it for today. See you next time. Bye.